Alright, so before I get into this, I just want to say thank you to all of you guys who have decided to support me on Patreon. Like, it seriously means so much to me. So, thank you for that. You guys are awesome. So, about a month ago, I said I'd make a video on how to shadow in Rocket League. And shadowing is basically a way of playing defense in Rocket League when you're in a 1v1 situation. So at that point, I wasn't really playing ones very much, so I honestly wasn't really thinking about it all that much, and I didn't totally feel qualified because I wasn't really doing it a lot. It's really one of those skills that you need to practice a lot to be good at, because it's really more about feel than it is about knowing the technicalities of it, and it's also heavily based on your reaction time. But regardless, I think there are some things that I can give you guys that will hopefully help you get better at this. So the main reason for doing this thing called shadowing is this. It is better to position your car sideways when defending against dribbles than to be facing them straight on. That's kind of like my thesis for this whole thing. You're better off defending a dribbler from the side with your car sideways than trying to do it, straight on facing them like you're in a duel or something. And there's a few reasons why it's better. One, your car has a greater surface area when challenging if you're sideways. So you have a better chance of being able to block the ball if your car is sideways as opposed to straight on, because from their perspective, you've made your car bigger. Two, you can react to power shots and flicks better when you're positioned sideways. That one is obvious, right? It's, so hard to defend a shot facing that person straight on in the goal. And then the third reason is that your car will be in a better and safer position after you challenge or after you save the ball if you're doing it sideways. So it's less all in that manner. Like, you're not flying all the way down to their side of the field when you challenge, you're just flying sideways across your own half of the pitch. So getting good at shadowing is really about learning how to read your opponent, which really means you need to learn how to watch your opponent instead of watching the ball 24/7. And this is really hard at first. And, it really takes time to get to the point where the ball is just sort of in your peripherals. It's not really what you're focusing on. This is actually a lot like other sports though. Like in basketball, you never really want to watch the ball when you're on defense, especially if you're defending someone in a 1v1 situation who is potentially going to dribble around you. You watch like their chest. You don't watch the ball, because the ball will deceive you. But the person really can't. Like, if you can focus on them and really understand what they're doing, you should be able to defend against them. I'm sure this is really the same as non-car soccer, but I don't really know anything about that sport. So defending a dribbler in basketball is often really similar. So let's use basketball as an illustration. What you're trying to do in basketball is cut off angles, and it's really all about angles and understanding what is possible for your opponent. So a lot of times in basketball, you will kind of defend on one of their sides to force your opponent to go a certain direction. And then when they go that direction, you cut them off, and you're cutting off them trying to make a move, but you've kind of already forced them into that move. And that's really what you're doing in Rocket League when you're shadowing. You're trying to take away as much of the goal as possible as you and your opponent get closer and closer. Also, try to always be making small movements. We often think of faking as something that you do on offense when you're dribbling, but really the defender can fake too, and sometimes, the defender can make even better fakes than the person dribbling. So if you're always making movements, you're also keeping your car's momentum and sort of preparing your brain to be able to react quickly when the person does take a shot. All of these small movements are also positional, like you're adjusting your car's position based on where your opponent is. You're, constantly trying to be reacting to your opponent. I know this sounds like a lot at first, but as with everything in Rocket League, at some point it will become second nature. Scrubkilla is a great player to watch in this regard, because when he plays defense, he basically always waits for them to make a move. Like, he never really challenges early. He does lots of fake challenges, but he almost never actually rushes in and challenges. He just kind of forces them to take a shot, or he waits till they get so close in the goal that he just challenges right in front of his own net, basically. A good way to practice this is just to get in a private match with a friend and go back and forth practicing dribbling and shadowing. If you do this somewhat regularly, this will help your ones rank so much if you keep these mechanics warm, because a lot of times defending isn't the thing that's warmed up, and if you can really build up your reaction time and get comfortable understanding what players are trying to do, you'll rank up so fast, because you'll just score counter goals over and over and over again. Try to also get used to knowing where you are. One of the things that will probably frustrate you at first is you won't really be very good at positioning yourself in terms of where the goal is and where the box is. And, you know, you'll set yourself up to shadow against someone, and then they'll just like flick it right into the middle of the goal, and you'll realize you weren't even close to where you needed to be. So this also just takes time to get used to, but try to use the box and the markers on the box as sort of a reference point to where you're supposed to be and where you're at, because it's easy to forget where the goal is. More than anything, just keep practicing this. It's really useful in every game mode, not just 1v1. But you know, if you can get to where in almost every 1v1 situation, whether you're playing 2s or 3s, you know, you're able to defend your goal when you're like the only one back, like you'll be so much better off. All right, let me know if you guys have any questions or other thoughts on this topic. Hope things are well. Until next time, peace out.